PH, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Roger, Tom in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have you just a couple of dB above my noise level. Let me drop down to 100 watts and I'll give you an idea of your signal to me at 100 watts. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, running 100 watts at KC9VKV. And back to you at KW. Roger, Roger.
Roger that. Yeah, I'm running a straight 100 watts. Kenwood 590 SG, 100 watts, up a 43-foot vertical. So, got you a good solid, when you're running a KW, got you a good solid 5.9, drops to about a 5.6 when you drop back to 100 watts, but still readable, over.
Roger, Roger, and I copy you from time to time at 7 dB or so above my noise level. So it just depends on those conditions in and out, but your max was 7 dB above my noise level. So tell me about your radio, sir.
Kenwood 590 SG, 100 water. Love it. Had it for a few years now and does a really nice job. Over.
Roger that. And what kind of antenna are you running?
43-foot vertical today, and that's a vertical by 05 antenna out of Chicago.
Roger, Roger. Now, do you have any other antennas that you could possibly A/B the response differences between that vertical and the horizontal?
That would be great. I'm in the midst of the tree rats took down my dipole, and I'm in the midst of putting up a new one. Should be up and running with that by tomorrow. But for today, just working the vertical, over.
Roger that, Roger that. We'll get you a good A/B switch there. I'm just curious myself. I'm of the theory that most of the incoming, and there's no book that says this, I don't think, but my conviction is that most of my incoming stuff is on the horizontal plane more than the vertical plane. Now, I know in UHF and VHF that if you start off vertically polarized on, say, VHF, well, 400, 300 miles away, that polarization tends to remain the same. On VHF, if you start vertically, there's a good chance that you will be more vertical at 300 miles with conditions than it will be horizontal. But I think on the HF band, I've seen more, what looks like more on the horizontal side than on the vertical side. Roger, Roger?
Roger that, I would agree. The takeoff angle on this antenna is pretty decent. That said, particularly as I get down in the bands, like say 80 meters, it tends to want to skip right over the local and keep heading out. I can talk out east all day long, but I couldn't get somebody 5 blocks from my house. So it skips right over anything nearby. It would be nice actually to have some horizontal or real flat takeoff. Thinking about maybe putting NVIS wire antenna up on the roof or something to get a good flat signal here in town, over.
Roger that, Roger that. Well, with that A/B switch, you'll be able to constantly compare the incoming. And I'm sure you'll find out that, well, there is mostly horizontal. There will be times when vertical will be hotter. At least, I have about 2 years of experience on 10 meters when I first started off as a technician and had certain restrictions. I could operate on 10 meters. So I spent my first 2 years on 10 meters, and I did develop 3 fairly good antennas for 10 meters. I built a full wave 36-foot loop antenna. This was RG6, I think, strung around a PVC form that was 10 foot on the horizontal and 8 foot on the vertical, and it was vertically polarized with a rotor and driven from the top, and I could rotate that around. And I recall just for those 2 years, man, I talked to California about every day. And the interesting thing I found about that full-wave loop antenna was how quiet it was. You know, if you hook up a quarter-wave antenna to a radio, you have X number of signal-to-noise ratio levels. You know, it is what it is with a quarter wave. Then if you go to, say, a dipole, you have about half that noise. And then when you go to a loop antenna, which is a DC ground antenna, because the loop comes back and it is a DC ground, the noise level is so reduced. It's you know, triple the less noise than what a quarter wave vertical would be. And so I recall sometimes, you know, I had a rotary switch that those antennas came into, and I could go back and forth, and I could check 3 antennas in a quarter of a second. I mean, you may not believe it, but a rotary switch is unbelievably fast. And if you're just listening to white noise as you know, zing past, I could probably check you know, 3 antennas twice in a second. And listening to that white noise, you could tell which one was performing the best. Roger, Roger. This is a Heathkit SB220. Heathkit SB220 up to an inverted V. And we have 3 inverted Vs up on the tower at about 35 feet. And we have an unusual tuning method for our inverted Vs in that we do the SWR adjustments on the ground side of the inverted V, and we bring it back on frequency on the high side of the inverted V. And we go back and forth to the point that those 3 inverted Vs are running 1.01 to 1. Roger?
Roger, yeah, that's awesome. But it's got a nice 5-watt transformer that they include with it, and I can pretty well bring anything in here and actually put it through the tuner on the Kenwood. My next objective is a good solid 160 antenna, but I said to this day I can hear it just fine. So working on that, I've got a whole Heathkit, the old what they call the triple setup. It's the Mohawk, the Warrior, and you know, that whole bunch with that 1 kW's amplifier, linear amp, and working on recapping those and getting them ready for the shack. So over.
Oh, roger that. Now, you did drop out a little bit there on that transmission, but did come back at the end with about a 10 over my noise level. So, good going there. And let me say threes to you, Tom. We appreciate the shout. And we will be posting this QSO on our Qso-Vlog page on YouTube within the next couple of days. So if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, you will find a QSO marked My Group Air Check, date 10/5/18, frequency 7189. Roger, roger.
Roger that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And 7-3 to you as well. I had some good contacts today. Hope to talk to you further down the line. This is KC9FPC. Be clear and listening.
Roger, roger, Tom. 3's that away, so you have a good day. And this is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, with the Friday morning Qso-Vlog recording.